Tight end Darnell Washington is an athletic freak, an absolute game changer of a pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers in round 3 of the 2023 NFL Draft. So, I know all you are probably tired of hearing how Darnell Washington was a steal for the Steelers and how he only fell because of injury concerns, but at the beginning of this video, I'm going to be mentioning why I believe Darnell Washington is a perfect fit for the Steelers and how he will contribute to the Steelers this upcoming season. So, as we all know, he basically stands at 6'7", he weighs 264 pounds, his arm length is 34 5/8 inches, and his hand size is 11 inches. But not only is he a big guy at tight end, he's also very athletic as well. At the NFL Combine, he measured in these statistics. 40-yard dash time was 4.64 seconds, vertical jump was 31 inches, his broad jump was 10 and 2 inches, and he also benched 21 reps on the bench press. So he's a big guy, but he's very athletic as well. And he is obviously a tight end, but he's more scheme fit as a heavy run offense with heavy play action as well. So the top reasons to buy in with Darnell Washington because of his skill set is he's very good at blocking, and obviously the height and weight combination and his pass catching upside. So for Darnell Washington, he was very highly recruited coming out of high school. He's one of the best players in the nation coming out. And not only that, like I said, he's very athletic. He played high school basketball where he averaged 11 points, 12 rebounds, a double-double. But not only that, when he played football in high school, he played tight end, but also defense as well, defensive end. So he's very athletic, but in college, because I know that's what really matters and what he'll bring to the Steelers. So he's very physically imposing players. One of the biggest guys at tight end probably ever to come out with how good he is as well. So his skill set is a blocker, and he drives people back in the run game, and also in pass protection, he's very good at chipping in pass protection. So his presence is felt whenever he's blocked because he's going against smaller guys, and he's a really big guy. So he's very physically imposing and drives defenders off the ball vertically and washes them down the offensive line of scrimmage. So not only as a blocker, but Darnell Washington is also a very good pass catcher as well. He led a lot of categories for tight ends this year for college. And that's actually surprising because he split time with other Georgia's tight end. So it's not like he was only tight end on the team and he was the main guy. He split time with other tight end for Georgia. So him leading in a lot of categories is huge because he put up so much production in limited opportunity. But for Darnell Washington, what I see him doing at the next level is he brings value in the seam routes vertically and quick curls and hooks and in breakers versus zone. I believe he'll be more set apart in zone when he's going against a zone defense and really man-to-man because he's a big guy. Even though he's faster as a big guy, he's still going to have a hard time separating in man coverage. But if you give him the one-on-one opportunities or allow him to get open into space, he can run people over and take it to the house. Because in college, he led all tight ends in yak, yards after catch. So even though he was a big guy, he could still run after the football, and he's very hard to bring down. So if you get him into space, open, he's able to run through guys and run very far. But in man-to-man, he's going to have a hard time separating, but because he is a big guy at 6'7" and he weighs a lot, he's going to have a mismatch against basically any linebacker that tries to cover him. The only people who are going to be able to even have a chance might be safeties that are lined up who are bigger against him. But on one-on-one opportunities, he's very good at high pointing the ball as well. He wasn't one of these guys who could only run block or only catch the ball if he's wide open. If you look at his film, he was very good at high pointing the ball and making contested catch situations better. So he brings very good upside, but I still believe he'll be better against zone than man-to-man at the next level. And we all know, like I said, he's very athletic. And you can see that because of his stiff arms. After the catch, he would stiff arm people, break tackles, where he'd be hit behind the line of scrimmage or hit as soon as he caught the ball, he could break through that. And we even see him hurdle a lot of people in college as well. So because he's 6'7", 264 pounds, you would think he wouldn't have very good movement, but he's very good for his size. You might not want him to switch direction as much because it's going to be harder for him because of his level and he's 6'7", so he won't have the really good center of gravity to get lower. So you don't want him switching direction as much, but if you get him into space, that's where he could succeed at the next level. And the Pittsburgh Steelers obviously need him as a run blocker because they have limited run blockers on the team at tight end. So having him for that would be good. But the only concerns I see for Darnell Washington is obviously, like I said, lack of production because he did split time in college with other tight ends, separation on routes, and labored out of breaks, meaning that sometimes he's slow out of his breaks and cutting because of his size, and that limits him a little bit there. So those are the downsides I see with him, and like I said earlier in the video, he's really a steal in the third round for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So now that I mentioned where he should fit in for the Steelers, let me just go over what I mentioned at the beginning of the video. He was a steal in round 3 for the Steelers. The Steelers had pick number 80, but they traded back with the Carolina Panthers to pick number 93 and also picked up another 4th round pick. But Darnell Washington was a 2nd round talent, or even late first, but because of injury concerns with his legs and his knees, people didn't want to pick him. They didn't want to take the chance on him. But the Steelers saw nothing wrong with him and saw that he's just a big guy. So obviously taller guys are going to have more like knee problems. But he's not even having a knee problem. It's just that he is big and people are concerned about that. So they didn't pick him. But the Steelers picked up an extra 4th, which they wouldn't have drafted because they didn't have a 4th round pick, 5th round pick, 6th round pick. So after the 3rd round, they would have had to wait all the way until pick 7 in round 7. So the Steelers picked up another 4th, were able to draft Nick Herbig outside linebacker depth, but was also able to stay in the 3rd round as well and get a guy who fell all the way down to pick number 93, Darnell Washington. He's basically, I believe, probably the top 3 tight ends in this year's draft class. And based off limited opportunities, his production was high. So you could consider him probably the best tight end, both run blocking and pass blocking. He's a dual threat guy. Most guys in the draft were either only receiving threats, only blocking threats. But Darnell Washington was both blocking and receiving, and he helped the Pittsburgh Steelers in major areas. Also, with Darnell Washington, in case you're curious, in college, he said he watched the most film on Calvin Johnson when he was younger and he was more slimmer because he obviously was more receiving threat when he was slimmer. But as he got older and more as a tight end, he watched a lot of film on Rob Gronkowski and how he played with New England Patriots and how he dominated. And also because he's around the same size as Rob Gronkowski, and Rob Gronkowski is one of the best blocking tight ends as well as receiving tight ends, so he's a dual threat as well. So he watched a lot of film on Rob Gronkowski, and that's a great sign because, like I said, Rob Gronkowski is a really good tight end, probably one of the best ever at the tight end position. And also another guy that Darnell Washington watched film on, he said, was Mercedes Lewis. And like I said, Mercedes Lewis is known as one of the best blocking tight ends almost ever, especially right now in the league. He's a very older tight end, 37 plus, but he's still in the league because of his blocking and how good he is at that skill set. So Darnell Washington, watching film on him and Darnell Washington being such a good run blocker, learning a lot from his game, Rob Gronkowski and Calvin Johnson, is really a good sign for him at the next level. And if he could be even half or even 3/4 of what Rob Gronkowski was as a tight end for New England, that's a big steal in round 3 for the Steelers. And like I said, them picking up Nick Herbig with the trade back and still getting Darnell Washington is why I believe it was an absolute steal for the Steelers with no injury concerns. Let's see how he does at the next level for the Steelers. But with that being said, let me know down in the comments below. How do you feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers drafting Darnell Washington in the 3rd round, trading back? Do you believe that he's an athletic freak? And do you believe that he'll be a steal for the Steelers and an imposing person for the Pittsburgh Steelers for many years to come? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well if you like serious content, analysis, reports. Like the video, turn on post notifications down below for this channel as well so you get notified whenever I post the next Steelers video. I covered all of free agency. I covered every pick for the draft. So if you want to see all the introductions for all the players that the Steelers drafted, watch them on the channel. And also, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. And every news, every rumor, everything that breaks for the Pittsburgh Steelers, just know I'm on it and I'm covering it. So I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.